guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be talking about the 5 books that I read in January. I read 2 audiobooks, 2 ebooks, and then 1 physical book. So I will put pictures of the covers for the ebooks and audiobooks right in this area. And then I have the other physical book with me. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into my January wrap-up. So the first book that I read in January was One Day in December by Josie Silver. So this story is about a girl named Lori, and she sees this boy at a bus stop and she makes eye contact with him, and it basically thinks it's the love of her life. She is so attracted to him. She has made it her quest to find this boy, and so in her quest she finds out that her best friend is now dating this boy. It's her new boyfriend, and so Lori is kind of trapped in this whole thing. Do I tell her? Do I just drop my feelings for this guy? And that's pretty much what the book's about. So I really didn't like this, honestly. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars, and I saw that a lot of people liked it. I personally didn't like the insta-love of it, and I can do insta-love. There's plenty of books that I do like that involve what most people would consider insta-love. This was intense insta-love. So Lori and the guy, I don't remember his name to be honest with you, they don't have a conversation at this bus stop. They don't interact. They look at each other and that's that. And I just didn't get that at all. I didn't get why she was so obsessed with this boy and why it affected her so much. I don't get why she cared, because the only thing she knew about this guy was that he reads because he was reading at a bus stop, and that he was attractive. And I don't think that's enough to go off of for like a character connection. It'd be different if they had this groundbreaking conversation, or they spent a day together and they'll never see each other again. I don't know, anything but just looking at them. And I know that a lot of people enjoyed this. I did enjoy the beginning, so let me backtrack. So I didn't like the insta-love of it, but I did think that it would pick up more. Stuff happens. I don't want to go too into it due to spoilers, but stuff happens. I thought it would carry the story forward, and it doesn't. Honestly, I didn't connect with any of the characters, and then it goes into these people's boring lives for way too long. I was very bored, didn't care. I was honestly annoyed throughout the majority of the book. A lot of people who I usually have pretty similar opinions with really liked this book, so maybe there was just something I was missing. I don't know. I just personally was not a fan of this one. So the second book that I read in January was Scrappy Little Nobody by Anna Kendrick, and I really liked this. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I actually listened to the audiobook of this, and Anna Kendrick actually reads the audiobook, which is really cool. It kind of felt like she was the one telling you these stories. I grew up with Twilight and Pitch Perfect, and so hearing the behind the scenes stories of all of that and everything that was going on in her life and things you just wouldn't know unless you heard it from someone who actually experienced it was such a cool thing. I really liked this. I wrote on Goodreads that I just want to be Anna Kendrick's best friend, because that's really how I felt in the book. She is so funny. She's just such a cool person, and yeah, I really liked hearing all of her stories. It was a really good reading experience. So the third book that I read in January was The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. This is actually a Christmas time story, but I had it on hold, so I decided to still read it in January even though Christmas had passed. So this is kind of a retelling of A Christmas Carol. It is about a girl named Holly, and she is just not a very nice person. She is pretty rude. She hates Christmas, pretty much your typical Scrooge, and so she gets visited by the ghosts, so ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, and she basically is shown what her life will be like if she doesn't change. And I don't remember exactly what the description says, so I don't want to give away too many spoilers as to what happens. Basically, she ends up working for this company that puts this on called Project Scrooge. So then she works to kind of help other Scrooges change their life around. It was really funny. It was really cute. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was a little cheesy at points. It just reminded me of your typical kind of Hallmark movie. It was a little predictable, but it was so fun. I really liked this. Definitely one I'd like to reread around Christmas time. It was such a cute, heartwarming story, and I would definitely recommend this one too. I really enjoyed it. The next book on my list is actually the only physical book that I read in the month of January, and that was Rules for Vanishing by Kate Alice Marshall. I actually read this for the 3 months in a book club hosted by Zoe, Kaylyn, and Liv. They are all booktubers. I'm sure you guys have heard of them. Just in case you haven't, I will link all of their channels down below. They started hosting a monthly book club, and this was actually the first pick. This is about a girl named Sarah. Her sister Becca goes missing, and a lot of people kind of think she just ran off with a boy and are not too concerned about it, but Sarah thinks there is more to the story, and she thinks that the story of Lucy Gallows can be involved. So Lucy Gallows was a girl who disappeared on this road a long time ago. And people say that if you go to these woods on the anniversary of Lucy's death, that this road will open up and you can play her games. So that is what Sarah thinks her sister Becca did and why she is missing. A text goes around the school telling people that they should come play the game. So Sarah and a group of friends decide to go to look for Becca, and yeah, chaos ensues. I really liked this book. I gave it a solid 4 out of 5 stars. It was very scary. I guess I'm kind of a wimp, I don't know, but I was expecting, since it was YA, that it would not be as creepy as it was, but it was very creepy. Lots of scary things in it. A lot of times I will read in bed before I go to sleep at night. Multiple times I had to put this book down because I was just getting really freaked out. It's definitely suspenseful, kept me on the edge of my seat. I usually didn't know what was really going to happen next. I would definitely recommend this one. I gave it a 4 out of 5 because even though I really enjoyed it, the characters, there were a lot of characters in this book. I think Kaylyn is the one who said she had to do this too, but I had to get just a piece of paper and write the characters that were mentioned down and characteristics that went with them, because I was having the hardest time keeping them straight towards the beginning. Once you get to know them a little better, it is easier to keep them straight, but not too much character development happens right off the bat. They're just kind of thrown at you, and so that was kind of confusing. But other than that, it's a really great book. Highly recommend this one. So the 5th and final book that I read in the month of January was Sadie by Courtney Summers. This book is about a girl named Sadie whose sister Maddie is killed, and she basically just wants revenge for it. Sadie actually ends up going missing herself, and so this guy starts his podcast called The Girls to figure out what happened to Maddie and where Sadie is, if she's even alive. I listened to the audiobook of this, which was phenomenal. It really felt like you were listening to an actual podcast. They would play the music, the interviews would sound like they were actually phone interviews. They had a full cast, which was really cool. The writing was great. I did rate this a 3 out of 5 stars. I was really unsure how I felt about it after. Even though I really enjoyed the writing, I was invested the whole time in Sadie's story. Some of the subject matter in this is very intense and disturbing. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I picked this up not knowing much. I had heard that everyone raved about the audiobook and that it was a really great story, and I had heard nothing but great things about it. So I went in pretty blind, and there are a lot of mature topics in this, a lot of very disturbing things. I was very uncomfortable, and some of it made me feel pretty sick reading. So it's hard to say that I enjoyed it, even though I did think the writing was great. I don't know, it was such a weird feeling because I've read books that, you know, aren't supposed to be happy, and I just found this one very, very hard to read. For that reason, I just gave it 3 out of 5. And also, I didn't like the ending. I wished that it didn't end the way it did. Again, I don't want to give too much away due to spoilers, but yeah, I just wasn't a fan of that. It wasn't what I expected it to be. So for that reason, I don't know, it's hard to say I'd recommend this because it didn't make me feel good. I didn't leave it feeling good. I left it feeling very sad and very disturbed and disappointed with the ending, to be honest. So yeah, but if you do decide to pick this up, I would definitely recommend looking into what it's about and definitely picking up the audiobook, because the audiobook was definitely incredible. Full cast was great, everything was amazing about that. Just the content of the book was not my favorites. So those were all 5 books that I read in the month of January. Let me know down below what books you guys read, if you read any of the same ones, what you thought. If you have any recommendations for February, let me know. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!